Okay, my name's Bill Thomas. We're here today at the Palms Grill Cafe in Atlanta, Illinois. Sure, this cafe opened originally in 1934. I believe it was August of 1934. It was in business until around the late 1960s. And then actually it closed down and everything that you see in here now was taken out. This was an empty shell when we began this project. So we had one photo that showed the interior of the place as it looked shortly after it opened, and that's what we used as our guide to recreate what you see now. That process took about a year. We actually worked on the rest of the building also, and in total it was about a $500,000 project to restore the cafe, move in the town's museum upstairs, and make it operational again. My association with Route 66, my first memory goes back to 1964 when I was 9 years old and our parents bought a brand new 1964 Chevy Bel Air station wagon. We all piled into it and went to Disneyland, and we drove Route 66. So it was a real thrill. I mean, back in those days it was just exciting because it's the first time I ever had breakfast at a restaurant. I mean, it was a major thing for a 9-year-old kid, And then, you're headed to Disneyland, so what more could you want as a 9-year-old? Oh, it's that trip across the entire United States because, I'd never been out of Illinois before. Got to see mountains, got to see the Grand Canyon, end up Salt Lake City, got to end up in Disneyland itself. So it was a true classic American road vacation in 1964. So that left a big impression on me. What do I do with Route 66 now? I'm actually chairman of a new organization that just formed within the last couple of years called the Route 66 Road Ahead Partnership. It is an attempt to bring together all of the 8 states and their association, the existing national organizations, plus international organizations into one collaborative group, all designed to help preserve and promote and educate folks about Route 66. Yeah, your timing is really good because I'm happy to announce that within the last couple of weeks, we actually introduced 2 pieces of legislation in Congress that I think are really exciting for the road. One, we introduced a bill to establish a Route 66 100th Anniversary Commission because we'll celebrate Route 66's 100th birthday in 2026. So we have 9 short years in order to make sure we're prepared to celebrate what we think is going to be a huge birthday celebration. Okay? The second piece of legislation is also really important for Route 66's history. We introduced a federal bill to designate Route 66 a National Historic Trail. That will put it on the par of things like the Lewis and Clark Trail, the Oregon Trail, the Selma to Montgomery Civil Rights Trail. We need a presence on the federal level to ensure attention gets paid to Route 66 forever, and that will do it. So those are the 2 biggest things we've been working on. The Route 66 Road Ahead Partnership is designed, we have 4 or 5 specific outcomes. Promote Route 66 domestically and internationally, preserve as much of Route 66 as possible, the buildings that exist, the roadbed itself, bridges, etc. Educate folks about the history of 66. Tell a lot of the stories that haven't been heard. For example, we're working with the National Park Service to tell the story of, do you know what the Green Book was? Okay, we want to tell the story of the Green Book, which was a travel guide for Black Americans to help them safely navigate their way across the country. And a lot of the Green Book route was Route 66. So we want to tell that story. We've also instituted something called an American Indian Tribal Advisory Group because there are a lot of tribal nations that live on either side of 66 across the country, and they want, when I went across 66 in 1964 as a 9-year-old, it was a very stereotypical experience. You stopped in New Mexico, there was a roadside teepee with an Indian and a burro, and you got your picture taken, but that's not the real story of the tribes along Route 66. So we want to make sure their voice is heard as part of the education process. So those are the main things that we're doing. Well, it's provided, probably first and foremost, an outlet for my passion for history. I'm a former history teacher, but I also happen to work, my day job is as Economic Development Director for this county. So I see the direct connection between promoting and preserving Route 66 and helping the economies of all of us small towns along the route. Atlanta in particular has benefited tremendously from Route 66. So it's a personal pleasure for me to be a part of that and to help this town's economy by promoting Route 66. There are multiple sites like that, so I'm not going to pick out one, but I will tell you, every time someone comes here to the Palms Grill Cafe in Atlanta, because I know they're headed out west, I always recommend, you have to stop in Missouri and go to Devil's Elbow. It is just such a classic spot. You're shaking your head, you must know it. It's got that wonderful barbecue bar place there, and then the road curves and goes across a bridge, which is an old iron bridge. So it's just, in my opinion, a must stop along 66. Well, I happen to be in love with the 11.4 miles in Kansas. Okay. You know, that's how much of Route 66 they have. But they have gorgeous bridges and gorgeous buildings that are still there and being lovingly preserved. So don't bypass Kansas by getting off the route. Make sure you go through those miles. There are some wonderful new things on Route 66 too. In Arcadia, Oklahoma, the Pops recreation of a gas station that is there. It's all do you know it? It's very modern and neon and has the world's largest collection of soda pop anywhere. It's a wonderful way that they've created a new modern attraction that mimics and reflects the old attractions. That's a favorite spot. Irma Jean's Good Burger in California is one of my favorite spots, just because that place has been open, I think, since 1947, and I don't think it's changed much there. Everything is old except the food. The food is new, so but it's classic diner Route 66 food. I did the whole route 2 years ago, in summer of 2015. I remember I stopped in Amarillo, spent the night at the Big Texan. My God, if you want a classic Texan experience, that's the place to go. So those are some of my highlight spots along the road. I would like more and more people, especially civic and government officials, to recognize its power in terms of economic development. That's what I am most passionate about. I said I loved history earlier, but I'm a history nerd, and I know everybody isn't like that. So the real payoff, the real value is, let's save this piece of history, but then let's use it for economic development purposes, because that's what's going to keep it alive.
Well, thank you. That's my spiel. Taking the time to talk with me, and we'll see you down the road on Route 66.
All right, onward and upward.